G'day guys, and welcome to the long-awaited walkthrough of OTT. You've probably seen in the last episode, I do get a bit of flack because I haven't done it for ages. Like I said, I've had 2 or 3 goes and I haven't done a real good job at it. So here we go. I'll start it off here and I'll probably end up out in the water and finish most of it off out there. But yeah, so I'll cut to that now, guys, and then I'll come back and finish it here. Alright, so while we're drifting along here, tide just on the turn, wind's got a spit. It's a bit strange here. That way is out to sea. The water is gushing that way back into Dampier, and it's a run out tide, so go figure. So, but anyway, here we are. I'll give you a quick rundown on the OTT. I get a lot of comments about what is it. Obviously we get a lot of, oh, it's just a bullet boat. Well, it's not just a bullet boat, unfortunately. Bullet use Billy plug, and that's who we use. So unfortunately Billy doesn't make or doesn't allow his plans to go out anymore, from what I've heard. So this is probably a one of the last that I probably know of. But anyway, so yeah, it's a Billy plug hull, 6mm bottom and 4mm everything else, with a 5mm keel cap, a bit of C channel there over the keel cap, and just to protect that in case we run into stuff, which I do quite a lot. But anyway, so we'll start up the front here. Pretty self-explanatory. Anchor winch. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, so there you go. Little Viper, little mini micro, I think it is, Viper micro, with a Rockner anchor. Just if you're not into anchors or anything, or you want to know about camping in tidal areas, that right there, that will be your saviour in a tidal area. If you have it in the slide, that's for reef. If you have it in the slide, the tide will change. You do a 180, the shaker will slide to the end, pick your anchor up, and away you go, and you're off. And unless you use your anchor alert on your sounders, you will not know, and you will be away, and you could end up anywhere. But anyhow, so there you go. That's the anchor. And if you do have an anchor well, please spend the time and put a lid there. That's a whole lot of wasted area in a small boat that I can now fish off. I do still have to put a bit of flooring on it. It does get a bit slippery underfoot when it does get a bit wet, and it does get bloody hot. As anyone knows, the Nelly boat, hot sun means burnt feet. So that's that. Minn Kota side of it, Minn Kota Terrova. It's not the self-assist one, it's just a standard self-deploy. 72-inch shaft, 80-pound thrust. You always see on the pages, you know, oh, I've got a 6-metre boat, what's a good Minn Kota? Well, this is 5 metres, 4.95, whatever you want to call it. And if you are up in a tidal area, that's on the limit some days. You see it when you're on the spot lock, it'll be up around the 7, 8, maybe 9 sometimes, trying to hold yourself. So they do have their limit, but in general use, perfect for this size boat. Probably, like I said, probably up to close to a 6-metre boat, as this thing is quite heavy and it does draw a lot of water, so it's a bit more drag. Anyway, seat spigot up the front there. 3 seat spigots in this boat. I only ever have 2 seats. It's generally, let's face it, I don't really go too many places with more than 2 of us unless I've got the missus and kids, but and the kids will not sit still, so the seats are no good anyway. But yeah, we do run a little prop there, and I do tie mine off to the side. It just stops a lot of wobble, takes a lot of pressure off the main shaft there, because we do bash through a fair bit of crap up here like we have today. But anyway, we'll move to the roof. All round white, 6 new rocket launchers, and we've moved the lights off of the bait board up onto the top, so when you're backing down a boat ramp in the dark, lit up like bloody Christmas tree. So it makes it easy for coming down boat ramps and stuff. And all our lights are steady, as you've probably known if you follow us. If not, hit the like, subscribe, share, check us out on Facebook and Insta. Anyway, enough of that, keep moving. The casting deck. Casting deck's pretty big for a small boat like this. 50 litre brass monkey fridge, two 12-volt batteries, lithium. I run lithium up the front. Depends on who you talk to. Lithium Minn Kota, good, bad, whatever. It's been going for a couple of years, and they're the cheaper batteries. You do see a fair bit of stuff, oh, they're shit and all the rest of it. Well, mine get flogged, they get hammered, and they get bashed. They're up the front of the boat, they're not down the back, so they cop the worst of everything. And they've done quite well. So I'm happy with them. It's up to you what you want to do, but always carry me gas cooker, frying pan. I've got towels, spare water. I've got 10 litre water things under there. And yes, obviously gas strut lid, plenty of that. I can walk all over it, not a drama, doesn't flex. And it's all good. Stainless steel. Do not sit on them in a 45-degree day. You will have a circle on the back of your leg. Bloody hot. But anyway, rod holders down the side, 3 down each side, 3 down that side. Obviously Minn Kota GPS there, fuel point there, breather as well comes out through there over the side, not down the back like most boats do. Underneath there, get out the way, could. Get out the way. Underneath there you'll see a cutout. That cutout's there, so at any stage I need to take that floor out, I can. The thing with a small boat that holds lots of fuel is getting to it. Side console for me, I think they're great. It gives me more room. If I was to have a center console, it really does cut down where you can put your fuel tank, or you're building a console over the fuel tank, and to get the fuel tank out, you've got to pull your console out, which I don't want to do. I want to be able to rip my carpet up, undo some screws if I've got a leak or anything if we're out remote. So that's why we've done it. It's a custom built boat. The best part of having a custom built boat is you can put stuff where you want it, and that was just an on the fly thing. You know, you can hook your feet under it, you can do what you want, and sit down, mate. And yeah, it's good. Plenty of grab rails now. Obviously, as you can see, up over the roof, GoPro mounts off there. New bait board. Anyone that's seen the boat from the start, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with the bait board. So what we did was just sat there with a beer one afternoon and thought, let's make it look like the top. When I took it down, you would have noticed, if, like I said, if you follow us on Facebook, you'll see what we do with it. We took it down to Justin and we said, look man, build us some shade. I need a few more rod holders as well. So yeah, so basically side profile looks very similar to the shade on the top. So that's how that come about. Another grab rail on the front, that's actually really good. Anyone that knows, small boat, rough weather, need plenty of things to grab onto. A couple more rocket launcher rod holders there. These are beautiful. These got a nice insert. Look after your rods a bit more. But yeah, in here, down the back, batteries, one down that side and one in under there. So what that does, I come out by myself a lot. So those batteries, I think they're just your AGM standards, lead acid. I think they're about 32 kilos each. So to put those in the middle plus me on one side means, I don't know if you've ever seen side consoles going down the road leaning to the left. So we didn't want that. So the boat's pretty much set up for me to come out by myself, or if I want, I can put some water in the live well and counteract the other person sitting on the other side a little bit. So I've got a couple of ways of ballasting the boat out. But yeah, obviously, as you all know, Suzuki 140, the fly-by-wire. That's pretty cool, love it. Some of the figures I've been getting today are pretty impressive. As impressive as a big turtle that just ducked in then. But yeah, we sort of used to run around the 45 litres per 100 k's, so it's a bit better than 2 to 1. Whereas today we added another 5 knots to it. We used to sit on 20 knots. been sitting on 24, 25 knots most of today. We've actually been dropping into the 30s. So we've picked up with this little tune that we've done. It was an economy tune, so we're not going for full-blown outboard horsepower. We do distance, so need it to be as economical as we can. We picked up a few horsepower obviously by doing it, but yeah, it's unreal. I'm pretty happy with it so far. But anyway, back to it. Down the back here, got the battery switch there, pump, so that pump does both deck wash and live bait tank, come kill tank, come rubbish bin today. So you just got a splitter there and the filter, the micron filter there. That micron filter, if you are going to put a live bait tank in your boat, make sure you put one of those filters on. The amount of times that I've had to clean that out, just floating around, picking up weed. If, well, like me, if you sit on the bottom quite a lot and you're trying to run your pump, you'll end up sucking up heaps of sand and stuff, so it's actually quite important to run one of those. Anyway, so yeah, we're just running a basic seat here. Nice and light, fairly comfy, good enough for what we do. Fuel filter there, obviously, water separator, live bait tank, but as I said today, rubbish bin. So it's got a multitude of uses through there. I'll just carry a few bits of line and leader and a few little jigs through there. Sounder setup, two 105 SV Garmin's, pretty cool. I'm not real tech savvy. Anyone that knows me, I'm real stupid when it comes to tech. So yeah, Garmin suits me to a T. There's a lot of dudes out there that reckon whatever, Furuno, whoever. There's too many buttons on a Furuno for me. I'm not that clever. So this suits me to a T. They're a plug and play. I can find fish, I can do what I have to do with them, and the GPS side of it's really good. And yeah, that's pretty much it for that side of it. Obviously we've got the fly-by-wire here, so there's no trigger, so that's beautiful and smooth. Anchor winch, push button start, and a multitude of buttons here. Obviously we run the dual light bars down the front there underneath. If you are going to set up a boat with light bars, don't put them up there. It annoys me when I see it. I know it's a great place to mount them on your roof, but yeah, spend the extra time. The glare, the feedback, especially if you've got a white boat or a silver boat, you can't see. I can leave mine on full time in the water. If I'm out by myself, obviously, if you're around other boats, I'll turn them off. But zero glare, 100% usable light, it's great, I love it. But yeah, we've got blue lights down under the gunnels here. Got fairy lights all under around there, all the steady fairy lights. Lights activated from there for those guys. Back in here, got another button down there. So we've got a couple of rock lights here. Don't ever use those things. They're about as useful as nothing really. But yeah, a couple of steady rock lights, one each side. You can probably see there, I just mounted them to a piece of wood and Sikaflexed a bit of wood on. Not a fan of drilling holes in things, so that worked pretty good. But yeah, that's pretty much it. More storage in here. So it's got all my charging there for the GoPro batteries. I run a handheld two-way. Get out, Frank. I run a handheld two-way. Works for me for what I do. There is a provision here for later on. We have put in the roof for an aerial. Unfortunately, money doesn't grow on trees, so can't afford one of those just yet. So we've got the handheld. It's worked for us for what we've done so far. And the drone box fits in there. Get out. Life jackets, as you can see, they're pretty handy to get to. First aid kit in there, plenty of bug spray, WD-40, some tools, plenty of snap lock bags, and all the rest of it. So that's pretty much it, guys. 240 litres of fuel, if I didn't say that. So for a small boat, it's got a lot of fuel, and it weighs a lot. It weighs a hell of a lot. I actually put it over the scales once. No fuel, no anything in the front, just the batteries, the boat, the engine, and the roof. I had the roof put on. So yeah, it was quite heavy. I might do a little competition later. We might do guess the weight of OTT. I've got a docket, so it's a legit docket signed off. So we might do that later. See if you can guess the dry weight of OTT. No fuel. Like I said, it holds 240. I ran it out of fuel to take it down because we needed to check the sender. Had a bit of issue with the sender in the fuel tank, so I made sure it was pretty much dry for what we wanted. Anyway, welcome back. So what you can't see, obviously, while the boat's in the water, is what's happening below waterline. So yeah, it's pretty full on. Like, it is only a small boat. Like, don't get me wrong, a lot of people see it and tell me I'm lying when I say it's 4.95. But before I rolled out the shed at Justin's at FG's, we ran a tape over it and it had to be right for Rego, so it came bang on 4.95. And a lot of the reason why everyone thinks it's a lot bigger than it is because of that right there. Everyone looks at it right back to there, but this is where the boat actually ends here. And the reason for that is this was meant to be a tiller steer. So that's why it's actually got a tinny back end on it. So the whole transom, you sort of see the whole back end is on an angle there. So that's why it ended up like it is. We wanted the tiller steer on the 140, but for whatever reason Suzuki wouldn't supply the tiller handle for a 140. I probably could have gone and bought one aftermarket and just bolted it on myself, but I think I'll price it up and it just wasn't worth it. So we went with the side console, and I absolutely love the side console. It's great. Gave us a few other challenges. Leveling the boat out, as I already would have told you, how the boat's ballast and all that. But anyway, what's inside this? So the transom on this 4.9 or 4.95, whatever you want to call it, 5 metre. So that inside there, that's pretty much what's in a 7 metre boat. So it's pretty bloody strong, which obviously comes along with a lot of weight. So that's one of the downfalls of, if we're looking at pros and cons of a small boat, if this thing touches the bottom, that's where it's staying. And if you followed us and watched a few videos, I'll get there a lot, trying to catch tides, missing tides, and just, yeah, whatever. I'll get myself in a bit of strife. But so yeah, so obviously we've got some tie downs here. Scuppers are hidden. So we've got hidden scuppers, one each side. Underwater lights, there's real important on any alley boat. I don't see a lot when you see some boats for sale and they take a big picture of the back of the boat of an alley plate boat. There's not a lot of that, and that's an anode, sacrificial anode. So if anything's going wrong, there's a lot of electricity in these things now. Everything's fuel injected, everything's electric, everything. And that bolt there goes through the hole, so, and it's touching the motor and everything like that. So that's a very important thing there. Big drain plug, obviously. We only run the GT54 at the moment with the Garmin with a splash guard. They do spray a bit of water, so we've got a splash guard made for it there. But yeah, so we've got a GT51 and a GT56 coming, so the deep and the shallow water. So this is a good mid-range one, which has done quite well so far. But yeah, we're gonna change things up a little bit. So we've obviously got plenty of room on this side. Obviously another blue light under there, so plenty of room to add another one there. We'll just probably have to put another, I think they call them a toenail fitting there. So here we go around the front of the boat now, and this is probably what I've copped the most amount of flack with this boat, is putting these lights here. First thing was, you're gonna smash them off. Second thing was, you're gonna rut your hull. Won't give it 6 months and you'll be in looking for a new hull. So, and the other thing that a lot of people ask is, how do they go in the salt? Because obviously when we're in the slop, there's a lot of stuff backwash into here, your nose and into stuff and all the rest of it. Well, have a look for yourself. Zero corrosion, zero paint lift, and that's on both lights. But the trick to it is, make sure you get a nice or a good quality disassembler metal gel. I'm pretty sure it was Tef gel, on this. It's pretty expensive stuff, but hey, let's face it, this is pretty expensive. So for the 70 bucks for the little tube that it was, it's highly worth it. It doesn't actually set, it doesn't go hard, it always stays soft, and you can sort of see it bleeding a little bit there still. So stainless screws, these screws have been in for probably nearly 2 years, and not even one look of corrosion. So yeah, so that's me lights. Love them, I reckon they're great. But yeah, as for breaking them off, never happens. They're low enough to shine under my anchor, and obviously when the boat's up and going, it leans back a touch, so we have them pointing down a little bit because I have them on while I'm cruising along. But yeah, and as for smashing things off, you can sort of see we've run into the rocks quite a few times while we're up the Kimberley, and we've barked it a fair way, but that's what it's built for. Planing strakes, one each side obviously. They finish up about a metre from the back of the boat, and this here, I think for a small boat, this thing here is a bit of a game changer. Oh geez, we hit something hard there, but and there. So yeah, so the flat chine instead of a reverse chine's great probably for a big boat, but for a small boat, when it lands, it just doesn't have the weight, and we obviously have the weight in this thing, but it's still a small boat. So a reverse chine is designed to hold that water in and create lift, but obviously you need to get rid of that water, and that's that bone jarring shudder that you get through a plate boat. So yeah, so that alleviates pretty much 90% of it. I take a few people out for the first time, and they sort of, you know, they brace themselves for the big bang, and it doesn't sort of happen unless I'm being a bit silly and going too fast, which happens every now and then. But in general use, cruising along 20 knots, this thing will pretty much cruise pretty much 20 knots in anything, and I mean pretty much anything. We've had a few wild rides, but it seems to love 20 knots. It's just that it's just enough for it to wallow and ride the waves, but enough to stay up on the plane, and it's pretty sweet at that. That's pretty much it. Good transom door. We do a bit of diving, we'll try anyway. So but yeah, as you can see, I still run my umbrella from the Kimberley trip. Once the sun's up and it's bloody hot here through the day, it keeps a lot of heat out of the front of the boat. So yeah, so that's pretty much it, guys. It's like I said, it's probably one of the heaviest tinnies you'll ever see. I will run a little comp, like I said in the video. I got a docket from when I did weigh it in, so yeah, I know exactly what this thing weighs dry. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. As always, you probably noticed got some new hats, nice embroidered ones now, a little bit flashier than the last ones. But yeah, and as always, ottadventures.net for all your merch. And yeah, thanks as always, guys, for watching, and tell your mates.